Thank you very much, Ken Fadner. Hey guys, you know, when you look outside, it's really easy to get down, but do me a quick favor. Please put your hands together for Ken Fadner, Johnny Whitfield, and the whole MediaPost crew. These guys put their hearts and soul into putting together a program that is really designed to inspire, energize, and I think probably most importantly, educate. And I'm really, really pleased. Ken made note of it, and Morgan did too. Really, really pleased to see the number of new first-time attendees here at the Email Insider Summit. And we at ExactTarget are very proud to be a repeat sponsor of this event. We also are the title sponsor of MediaPost Social Insider Summit and the Mobile Insider Summit, all of which are quality events. Alongside today, my colleague Brian Wade, who actually is the product manager over the email product suite at ExactTarget. If you're expecting a pitch, sorry, you're not going to get that today. But what Brian and I decided to do in preparing for today's briefing is really to kind of take a look at a lot of the market forces that are at work right now that are driving you guys crazy, that are completely transforming marketing. We want to touch on what those forces are. We want to talk about what does that mean today, what does it mean more importantly going forward. Because, you know, if you're a veteran of email marketing, like Brad Nash or Angela Sanchez, or a lot of you in here that have been doing this a long time, you have seen a steady progression of change and transformation in email marketing. And one of the common themes of this briefing is that we're going to continue to see more and more of it, because email, as I just shared with Ken, from our vantage point, email is in a huge renaissance stage right now. I think a big reason for it is that it's fueled by mobile. So let's get right at it. One of the things we know for sure is that the art and the science, the practice of marketing is completely different. It's a brand new ball game. There is a lot that has really changed. All marketing, everybody in this room sees this every single day. All marketing has become cross-channel marketing. We don't know exactly through which channel she's going to be engaging with us. It might be email. Most likely it's not the first channel. Most likely it's through search or through social media, finding her way to the brand website. But from there, the game has really changed. And a lot of the themes that you see already being talked about here at this particular Email Insider Summit are integration, personalization, 24/7 triggered sense and respond interaction. The thing about cross-channel marketing is this. Our customers, your customers, they're already there. The biggest single reason, in my opinion, that we're seeing a huge renaissance in email, and as Morgan touched on it in his opening remarks, email enjoying a huge resurgence, Morgan, I think it's because of this. Mobile has changed the rules dynamically, and it's going to continue to do so. And our customers are already there. The other big force that is driving a huge amount of change in our industry is that today's consumer is a completely different kind of individual than he or she was as recently as 3 or 4 years ago. Increasingly more demanding of personalized engagement. Increasingly less patient with brands that don't take the time to ask what his preferences are, what his interests are, and serve him in a manner across all channels that is consistent and relevant. 49%, this is a stat that I picked up just a couple of days ago. This is from a recent Accenture study called the Seamless Retail Study. 49% of customers now are saying they are demanding a seamless experience across all channels, in store, online, at event, email, all of the different channels. This is what we're dealing with. So automation is absolutely really key to what we're focused on. So marketing literally has become a 24/7 job to deliver personalized offers, alerts, invitations, and information that are tailored to the needs and interests of today's demanding consumer. It is a big, big job. I wish things were as easy as they were back in 1976 when I started my career in direct mail. It was good enough then to be a specialist in direct mail marketing. Those days are long gone. You cut away today's marketing professional and he or she looks a lot like a Swiss Army knife. You've got to cover a lot of territory. So what does all of this really mean? These changes mean several things. One, serving has become the new selling. He demands it. It's our job to deliver on that. That's the role that data plays. That's why content has become the new black of email marketing, because nothing is capable of delivering more relevant content as quickly and as efficiently as email. Again, another reason that email is enjoying a huge resurgence. This is the other fact. Data and automation have become absolutely critical for doing this at scale. That's the other point Morgan mentioned this morning. It's one thing to be able to deliver personalized offers and information in fairly small quantity. But if you have 1 million customers and prospects and they demand personalized content, being able to do that at scale becomes a totally different fish. And so a lot of what Brian's going to be focused on is really how are we approaching that at ExactTarget. And we'll talk a lot about this integration of email, social, mobile sites, the role that data and the role that analytics play on that as well. We call this approach guided selling. We use technology, which we call at our place a customer intelligence engine. The inputs to the customer intelligence engine on the left side are data. Explicit data, meaning this is what the customer has told us about his particular interest. This is what we know about his browsing behavior. This is what we know about the purchases that he's made. That's explicit. Implicit data, browsing history. That feeds the engine using data and business rules. That governs what offers, what alerts, what information are presented to him across different channels. Online, in store, via email, via mobile. And that is why email has literally now become legitimately the linchpin, the backbone of customer engagement. Nothing does it any better. When we look at the record of performance of email, the fact that 93% of U.S. online consumers are now receiving at least one permission-based email every single day, 77% of consumers prefer to receive permission-based promotional offers via email, and 66% of them, 2/3 have literally made purchases as a result of an offer received by email. We've never seen this kind of performance, this kind of conversion in any other form of direct marketing. That's why email has become the new gold standard for direct marketing. You know, I said a minute ago, all marketing has become cross-channel marketing. Where's Stephanie? Sam? I think Sam would tell you all marketing has also become direct marketing. And the same thing holds true on the B2B side, where 59% of B2B marketers say email is the single best channel they use for driving revenue. And the reason is that email, through the business getting phase and through the business keeping phase, all stages of the customer life cycle, does the single best job of personalizing the whole engagement. So with that, what Brian and I are going to go deep on right now are 5 big factors that are shaping what we would call the new era of email marketing. And we're going to start right here with mobile. Mobile has changed the playing field forever. And so what we want to talk about here are some of the key reasons that mobile is really expanding the use of email. Brian, take it away.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Joel. Good afternoon. So we're going to talk about kind of where, from a product perspective, ExactTarget is taking our product based on where our customers want us to go. And where our customers want us to go is where the consumer is at. So if you hit the next slide, we have taken all you see here, 46% of CMOs believe that smart tablet adoption impact email. I mean, we don't just believe it, we know it. So you can see from litmus and return path data, today we see 40% of consumers opening up their emails on a mobile device. That's going to just go higher and higher and higher. It's different in every market. And in Europe, it's a little bit lower. In South America, it's growing dramatically fast. But manufacturers, I only know one person who doesn't have a smartphone in this room, I would guess, right? Anybody else not have a smartphone? Right, everyone else probably has a smartphone. Because we were having a conversation at dinner last night. He pulled out his non-smartphone and proved me wrong. But everyone has a smartphone. So the number of consumers using this device will grow dramatically. We know that's a fact. So let's get into kind of what we're doing about that.
Good.
So when we think about the big categories of where we're focused, it's really around mobile push. So consumers are downloading apps at a new pace. Every major brand is building apps, and to be able to push messages to the consumer based on their email behavior is something we're seeing a lot of customers drive us for. The pre-header. So earlier today we were talking about the pre-header, right? Looking at the mobile device and how they actually give you more space in the pre-header than the subject line. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Mobile reporting. You have to know what devices your consumers are opening up your emails on. If you don't, you should. And then, the last one is SMS. So we'll hit the pre-header. So what ExactTarget is doing is we're allowing our customers to manage the pre-header like the subject line. So you can go in and create a subject line and then create a pre-header. What we're going to be building in are things like A/B testing as well as optimization, because there's no better way to make a first impression than to say what you want to say in the subject line and say it again in the pre-header. Preview. So we have great partners that help us with this, but previewing what the email is going to look like on the device, being able to write your responsive email and then quickly preview what that looks like is super important to our customers. That's a big push for us. And then mobile optimized templates, so tools that let you take an email, optimize it. You can use an agency or products for that, but Career Builder just gave a great presentation on how this is working for them. But we see responsive design as really just the baseline. Every email should be responsive, and it's really kind of the future of where the editing and the templating product is going. And then last, we got some product marketing build out here. Next slide for me, Joel. So now we want to go through some specific examples of how our customers are taking these tools and then using them in market and what they see from the results from that product.
Here's a couple of examples. This is Wedding Wire. This is an online service for couples who are in the process of planning their weddings. Wedding Wire's customers, as you can see from the second bullet point, 60% of their emails are now being opened on a mobile device. Scott Bertzel, this looks a lot like your stats that you shared this morning from Career Builder. When you've got that high a percentage of your customer base that is engaging with you through mobile, it's incumbent to make sure that your emails are being optimized for mobile. One of the things that Wedding Wire has done, very similar to what Scott took you through this morning, they've used a responsive design solution that's actually increased their click-through rates by 7.5%. And then just to kind of repeat what Scott shared with you this morning, and incidentally that Career Builder case study is actually at your place setting to kind of add some color to what Scott shared with you. This is what really got my attention as Scott was talking this morning about the business impact of responsive design. I mean, my heavens, when you're looking at a 15% increase in opens and a 21% increase in click-throughs, I know you're not in the e-commerce space, and you talked about that, Scott, but if I was an online retailer, I would be absolutely looking to make the leap here in responsive. Brian, with respect to reporting and the kinds of things that we're responding to, what marketers need there, what can you share with us?
I mean, what we're finding is that marketers just think this should be status quo, should be a part of the product. So we now include it. So as a part of the product, you can get extracts and see what devices your consumers are opening up your emails on. You see here, if you click your little build up here, so we have now a report that shows that. It just comes by default. So we love Litmus and Return Path. They're great partners. We'll continue to partner with them. But what we see is the product evolving to really allow marketers to get better insight to what's going on from a mobile perspective.
From a resource standpoint, I was hoping to have this available for you guys, and I apologize, it did not make the shipment. There's a brand new white paper. If you guys want to dig in deeper on this, it's called Designing for the Mobile Inbox. It's available at ExactTarget. I'll actually send this link over to John Whitfield so that in a lot of your follow-up communications you can access that. And then we've got several other resources, mobile first. There's a video that is also very much focused on tackling this challenge of making the migration over to mobile and some of the design issues that come into play there. And then finally, as we look at SMS, Brian, talk a little bit about that.
So many email marketers run SMS programs and mobile programs, although many times in large organizations they're separate groups. So what we found is our customers are asking us to take the way we report on SMS data and make it look like email data. So in other words, today, through the aggregators, you can't get detailed tracking statistics about who's opening, who's bouncing. That kind of data isn't available. So we have our customers asking us to categorize the way the SMS reporting works to make it align with their email reports so they can show their CEO how is reporting working cross-channel. So this is a big push for us. We've been doing mobile originated text, mobile terminated text, SMS for many years, and now it's just taking it to the next level. So that's one trend. The next trend, if you click, is really taking mobile global. So you see here, to implement a program across the world, you might have to work with 5 or 10 aggregators. Very challenging. So we take that away from the marketer's perspective and just give them one product to kind of manage all that in one place. So long codes, short codes, it's complex. But to have one one database where it's driving all that targeted and relevant communication globally is really where the market's taking us.
But making, from a productivity standpoint, really improving. Let me give you a quick example. This is Vegas.com. They have been really out first in doing a lot of innovation in terms of the integration of their mobile optimized site, their email, and then how they use SMS. This is maybe a little bit hard to read. And incidentally, if you guys are feeling like you all have a case of jaundice, you don't. For whatever reason, and I noticed this during your briefing too, the screen for whatever reason, Rob, I'm sorry, but it's got kind of a yellowish cast to it. I thought it was just my 59-year-old eyes, but it really, it's distorting a bit. Back to Vegas.com, their whole focus is driving people that are potential visitors to Las Vegas to a site to expose them to deals. So the objective is to promote usage of the company's mobile site to create or to give them a reason to be able to opt into details or to special travel deals. The solution, they actually promote the mobile site through airport billboard advertisements, just like this one right here. So this is inviting people to pull out their smartphones and they can actually opt in to receive special deals. If they can use their smartphone, or they can actually call a toll-free number, or here's our good old friend, the QR code, they can scan that. You can see how it moves from left to right. The visitor is actually opting in right now by texting in the word deals. They get a confirmation right back here. Thanks for signing up to receive Vegas deals direct from Vegas.com. And then the last step here is that they can go to the mobile optimized website. This has really changed the way that Vegas.com is really driving a lot of engagement on behalf of the different resorts and hotels and restaurants in the area. But the other thing that they do that is wise, and I did not show this to you, but when somebody has opted in, they now come back to them and said, would you also like to receive alerts and special deals via email? And so they invite the individual visitor to opt into email as well. So they're covering all of the different bases. So back to what Brian said, we're seeing a lot more integration between SMS and email, where one is helping the other. And then finally, talk a little bit about mobile push.
You know, mobile push is just like email. So SMS, we've got these aggregators and carriers and this complex sort of world. When it comes to push, it's really simple. It's an open protocol like email. So to use your data to create targeted and relevant push messages just seems obvious. So if you have an app and you're not doing that, you probably should. So we see a lot of our customers. Here's this Toy Chest by Sears example, where they are, based on email behavior and how you're interacting with the emails, then pushing messages to the consumer on their phone with targeted and relevant messages. So in this case, this consumer is getting an in-stock message, and the only reason they got the in-stock message is because they put out-of-stock items in their shopping cart that they clicked through from an email to get to. So they had all that data and used it to create a push message that was super relevant for the consumer.
Perfect.
Yep. And also the last thing is just with geo-targeting, right? So having the ability to, with push messages, know that I'm here on Amelia Island and maybe push me a different message than if I'm not. So there's subtle differences in technology that are super, I think, cool, but really it's a lot like email.
But you're automating and managing all of this out of one console.
Correct.
Got it. Let's talk a little bit about social. We've all seen the dramatic impact that social media has had on enabling brands to engage with prospective customers. There's been a lot of discussion this morning about how do we monetize, how do we really leverage social media to grow our email subscriber list, how do we use social media to attract new customers. Does social media actually work for driving leads that actually convert into sales? The answer to that is yes. The latest research we've seen on this, you take Facebook, for example, among B2C and B2B marketers reporting or responding to this particular study. This is from a July 2012 study. Facebook responsible for generating 67% of the leads, 39% of those actually converted into sales. What do we know about that? What we now know is that you have to have a plan. You can't be satisfied with racking up thousands and millions of followers or thousands of millions of likes. Because what we see happening is that the smart brands, the savvy brands, like the Nikes and the Gaps of the world that have broad product lines, understand that you have small micro segments of social media followers that are gravitating around certain pages of your social media offering. And the key is, how do you really engage them? And I've said this once. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. As a marketer today, based on everything we see about social media, if you don't have a plan to convert fans and followers to an email subscriber, social media becomes little more than a tactic in search of a strategy. And the smart brands are the ones that get that. And so with that, we want to talk a little bit about some of the things we've got baked into the technology to help brands leverage Facebook.
Exactly. So what is your Facebook marketing strategy? So acquisition, reactivation, activation, these are all strategies, right? So taking the product to be able to support that. So the first example we have is really around acquisition. So if you want to hit that one, you can go through the eBags, and then we'll hit activation, reactivation examples.
Yeah, eBags is a very interesting case study here. eBags' sole objective with this campaign, and it's called the Bag and iPad Sweepstakes. They did it in partnership with Jansport, one of their merchant partners. Their sole objective, mine Facebook for email subscribers. Tap into this treasure trove, which is Facebook, and give people a reason to become an email subscriber to start receiving special offers from eBags. So here's what they did. They gave Facebook members a chance to register to win an iPad by liking eBags on Facebook. That was step one. Then eBags used technology from ExactTarget called social pages in combination with Facebook ads. They actually created a series of Facebook ads where eBags was targeting their ideal audience to give them a reason to opt in. There you see the actual opt-in page right here. So the data that was captured through that opt-in process right now actually populated an ExactTarget powered email that then invited that customer to become an email subscriber. And here you see the email. So what eBags basically has said, thanks so much. They sent a welcome email. Thanks so much for opting in. As a token of our appreciation, we'd like you to take advantage of an eBags Insider exclusive offer. This is a 20% offer right here. They didn't have to do this, but this was their way of saying thank you. Again, you have to give to get, and eBags was willing to do that. And so now eBags has a new email subscriber, and they're now engaging that individual in ongoing communications. Here's what happened. This is a 30-day campaign. Over the course of the 30-day contest, eBags added 46,000 new Facebook fans, and 28,000 of those became new eBags email subscribers. So now they've got direct permission to start engaging them on an ongoing basis. They weren't concerned about selling a lot of product, but in that 30-day period, they drove almost 1,800 visitors to the site. They generated 106 orders, representing sales of $6,700. But again, like I said at the top, that wasn't their end game. Their end game was to attract new email subscribers, and that's how they made creative use of social pages plus Facebook ads to be able to target that audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And then think about where things are going. It's really about using Facebook ads to drive people to your page. And so this idea of creating a Facebook standard audience, everyone's familiar with that. Use this nice little Facebook editor to target people based on their demographics. Perfectly, great marketing tactic. But where things are going are the next phase are using your subscriber data, your email addresses, to create custom audiences. So earlier, as referred to on the panel, talking about Facebook custom audiences. Right. I think this is really the next phase of where things are going on Facebook from a marketing perspective.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Take us through the process.
Sure. So the way that it works is you take your file, right? You could take your segmentation tool from your ESP and create a segment. Show me my most active subscribers. Show me my least active subscribers. Show me my undeliverable and unsubscribed subscribers. Take any of your subscribers and upload them into Facebook, and you can match them. So bwade@ExactTarget.com, that is my handle or my username for Facebook, so I'm matched. Or you can acquire new subscribers by finding lookalikes, right? Males that are between a certain age range, that live in a certain region, that have certain education, in their background. Anything Facebook knows about you to create lookalikes. So when you upload your list of, let's say, 1 million subscribers, they'll give you back 10 million lookalikes. So we have a customer here, a client who had amazing results. So comparing paid search versus business as usual versus Facebook custom audiences, from an activation perspective, their return on investment was phenomenal. So they're using their ExactTarget data, using our social product through our social media lab to run this campaign, and they're seeing phenomenal results. So Facebook custom audiences, again, driven by a mobile phone number or an email address, we think is going to be kind of the next phase of Facebook marketing.
Right. If you guys want to know more about this, grab Brian afterwards so we can go into a little bit more detail. A lot of discussion around content. That's not a news flash to anybody in this audience. Content, as I mentioned a minute ago, has literally become the new black of smart email marketing. And so what we see happening about content, there are different forms of content, but one of the things that our clients are really asking us to focus more attention on from an automation standpoint, make it easier for us to be able to serve up content that we know is going to be relevant and drive conversion. Brian, kind of take us through.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. The ones you see on the first three on the left, we've had it in market for years. This new one, really, Don from Amazon touched on it really heavily with, taking what the consumer's behavior is in the web and then presenting those, whatever they've been searching for, looking at, what their behavior, and presenting that back to them in the email. Consumers love that. They begin to get used to it, and we've seen that from a business perspective, the open rates, the click rates, and the conversion rates when you do that, really on email, go through the roof. So let's kind of walk through how that works. So the way that it works is you tag your website, right? All the click behavior comes into our customer intelligence engine, and then on the far right, those little content areas, right? Those are completely predictive. The marketer doesn't control it. It's based on the consumer behavior. So you can't have someone from like one of your brands saying, I want my content in your email. What you have is what the consumer wants in your email. And if you take a look at the next slide, you can see that this is an example of one of the customers who uses this product. So they saw an 18% increase in opens, a 25% increase in conversions when they made the vast majority of the calls to action in the email just purely predictive.
And again, this is using data in combination with business rules to serve up that content which is relevant.
Yep.
So is this sitting on top of a CMS then so that we can have extreme automation where we can map right to that content that is deemed relevant?
Yeah, you're right. So if you're a retailer, you would load in your SKUs and your catalogs. If you're a publisher, you don't do anything. You just, whatever the consumer is doing on the web with content, right? We build your own kind of catalog of content. Right. So all we're doing is grabbing content from the web and then pulling in the email. But it's that customer intelligence engine that knows what content to go grab that makes it most relevant for the consumer.
Hard to set it up?
No, not hard at all. I mean, it takes you a little bit of time to set up, tag the site, get the data flowing in, and once you just paste in your little content area, it just rolls.
Great. One of the companies that's using this technique right now is Online Shoes. This is a strict, pure play e-commerce company. Online Shoes' goal is pretty simple. Personalize the marketing email that they send once a week to each shopper that visited the site the previous week. First, cut, male versus female, and then from there they look at what products they browsed on. So it's actually merchandising those products that are based on the consumer's profile combined with the merchandising business rules. What shoes, what brands, what models are we going to be promoting at this particular time? And on the business rules, those are things like shoe size, the actual margin that that particular item would represent, and then real-time inventory updates. So we're pulling in a lot of information that is then governing what products we're recommending to a consumer based on what's relevant, where we're going to get the most margin, and obviously what's available to sell, what's in inventory. What Online Shoes has experienced through this usage of predictive content has been an uplift of, their actual click-through rate is now just over 20%. Bissell, in the consumer packaged goods category, obviously the home appliance category, is doing something very similar, where based on the individual consumer's behavior on the site, what product they have purchased, they are now using predictive content, this is all automated, to completely tailor a series of different email communications that are going to that particular consumer that is using that Bissell product. This is probably one of the most extreme examples we see right now with Best Buy. Best Buy, when I talk about Best Buy, it's interesting because we're all familiar with this huge pendulum swing that Best Buy is still in the process of. They have gone from being a mass advertiser to now being a very, very savvy direct marketer. Data is behind that, along with content and heavy-duty analytics-driven marketing automation. Morgan touched on this morning in the opening about personalization of offers, personalization of recommendations. That's one thing, and you can see what Best Buy does. This is a typical weekly email. In the hero section, 10 to 12 different themes that are segmented by customer types. But then below that, personalized product recommendations. But here's the key. How do you do that at scale? A typical Best Buy weekly email is sent to more than 20 million individual Best Buy email subscribers.
Is it on? Yeah.
In 18 million different versions. This is why when I said at the beginning, data and automation are now becoming the huge drivers of next era, next generation email marketing, because this is exactly what we need to do to be able to respond to a consumer that is expecting us to remember who he or she is and has become increasingly more and more demanding. And then the final piece here, the next one we want to go into, is how do you really automate all of this? Brian's kind of set this up for us, what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so click one more time so it comes, there we go. So really across all of our products, marketing automation is a big push from a product perspective. And so not just setting up predefined automations, the marketer wants, but creating the customer journey. We've heard people say that a couple times today, but defining what it is you want to happen when a consumer does something with you, whatever that interaction is, and then having that response be real time, either via email or mobile or another channel.
So doing true, really sense and respond interaction. The bottom line is this. As marketers, our goals are moving a lot faster than a lot of us have the ability to respond to. Brian and I hear this every single week. All of you are in the same position because you've got more to do than you have time. And so this demand on us and what we're trying to respond to from a technology standpoint is how can we make your life a little bit easier by building in more automation to this. Just to kind of envision the problem, when we talk about all marketing becoming cross-channel, this is kind of what it looks like. Let's say that your brand, this is cross-channel marketing by the numbers, 10 different campaign strategies. We might have acquisition, we might have upsell, we might have remarketing, we might have a campaign devoted to referral, we might have several different kinds of campaign strategies across 4 different channels: web or online, email, social, mobile, make it 5, in-store. You then expand that out to 4 different product lines of business. That's 160 digital messaging strategies you're now responsible for implementing and supporting. It is a hell of a lot to ask. And so that's why when we look at this, you know, we've said, let's stop the madness here. A better approach is necessary. We have got to figure out how to help marketers make more effective use of data, business rules, to serve up content, and do that in a way that is individualized to each individual customer. And so that's why we have pumped a lot of energy into this whole area of interaction automation.
Yeah, so this is an example of Microsoft, right? They have thousands of interactions running. This particular one is for their new Office 15, which they're taking their Office products to the cloud. So now you'll go and sign up for a monthly subscription instead of buying it at the local electronics store. And so they set up this interaction flow. And so if a consumer is a high-value customer, they go through one. If they're not, they go through another. And then if they don't respond to the email, they get the mobile text, hitting display ads if they are responding. So just really, they've set up this interaction, and then they take the interaction, and you mentioned these different life cycles that one might go through, then they associate them with the life cycles. Hit the next one.
Yeah.
So Microsoft, for example, has today live in our system 4 life cycles. So this one you see here is acquisition. So I have been acquired, I'm in the free trial, and depending on how I behave, do I upload my files to the cloud? If I do, then I go through one interaction. If I don't, I go through another. So just they have these interactions set up, and who was it earlier speaking? I think it was Living Social, about, hey, once you have an automation set up, you can't forget about it. You have to go back and look at it every day and test.
Revisit it.
We revisit it, absolutely, and so that's what they're doing. They can see which interactions are working, which ones are not, and then go fix the ones that aren't.
You know, for brands that are really looking at trying to get serious about automation, that's where this business of really automating cross-channel engagement is absolutely critical, to really personalize the whole customer journey or the whole customer experience. These guys, if you've ever heard me speak before, you know I'm an unavowed, unapologetic supporter of what Scott's does. They just keep getting better and better and better at leveraging data to serve up the customer. This is Scott's cross-channel strategy, and they're automating engagement with the consumer. They're delivering recommendations, guidance on what product to use, when to use it, and how to use it to get the best possible results. On the B2B side, John Johnston of Volvo Construction Equipment has a similar approach. Their whole focus, we've got to generate leads that help dealers move iron. And so their cross-channel strategy looks a lot like this, anchored on the left and right by email, but also tightly integrated with social media, through Twitter, through YouTube, integrated with their website, and then obviously tied back to dealers and trade shows. This is literally where we're headed. I want to finish off, Brian and I want to finish off on one point that we're starting to receive a lot more questions about, and that is, what are you guys doing at ExactTarget to help us ensure the privacy, the security, the confidentiality of subscriber data? I don't know exactly why this is, but we're seeing a lot more questions now coming to us about safeguarding that. And I just asked Brian very quickly to kind of touch on this before we just wrap up, but let's talk a little bit about this issue.
Sure, you bet. I mean, of course, it started with financial services, but now it's really across the spectrum of every industry. You know, there are customers who have maybe had a breach in security, and now their IT department has a mandate. No data leaves our four walls. So as a SaaS vendor, we have to react. So we've built these sort of 3 options. So obfuscated, encrypted, and tokenized. So we have customers that don't even give us their data. They just give us a bunch of meaningless tokens, and then we'll send the emails, and we'll walk through how to do that here in a second. So this is a pretty cool example where we just take the data and we store it in our system, and then everywhere in the user interface and reports and exports everywhere, it just comes across completely obfuscated. So it would be like B*** wait at ExactTarget.com. So it becomes useless if a bad actor were to get a hold of your information, or maybe an employee were to go rogue. Completely useless for them. And that's what it looks like. If you hit the next one, this is where we have Canadian, European companies who don't want to give us the data. At the same time, tokenizing won't work for them. So in this case, we just encrypt their entire database. It's just all encrypted. It actually sits at rest encrypted, and we only decrypt it in memory when we send it. And the last option, which is probably the most extreme, this is a company, we talked about this publicly, so Zappos is the one that we built this for, where they just pass us meaningless tokens. And then we reach out to them via an API, and we get back not just email address, but also all the data to personalize the email. So if you were logged into our account, all you would see was a bunch of meaningless tokens, which, again, protects them from anything bad that might happen.
So different solutions for different clients based on what's important for them.
Absolutely.
We just wanted to touch on that, guys, because this is probably an issue. It's probably visited or impacted you guys, depending on what type of business you're in. Unfortunately, it's something that in an industry we're going to have to continue to be vigilant about this, which is why we've taken several different creative approaches to protecting data privacy. I guess the best thing I would say to sign off on is that there's no question in our industry of digital marketing, all of us now share this big issue, and that is our business, our jobs have become 24/7. And I think the key here is we look at where we're trying to head as a SaaS provider and as one of the leaders in the industry is to provide better solutions to enable you to get more done given the kind of demands on your time. We're not perfect. We are far from it, but we're doing our best to try to respond to those changes. It's been our pleasure, guys, to be with you. I want to thank Ken Fadner and John Whitfield again for putting together another great Email Insider Summit. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Book.
Welcome, sir.